Okay, I believe we're live. Okay, let me just check. Make sure that we're live on all our feeds. I'm here today with the amazing, the fabulous, the New York Times bestselling author, Dr. Bruce Lipton. And he is well known and actually world renowned for his research in epigenetics. Welcome, Brucella.
Liz, Don, my darling, I'm so happy to be here with you and our special audience because guess what? It's a wake-up call for the world time, and we have some really, really relevant information to share about let's wake up on the right side of the bed today would be a better day to do that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how we started our conversation this morning. I asked Bruce, I said, how are you? And he said, I'm happy and happiness and joy. And so we want to know the secret. We want to know how we manifest that in our lives and manifest what our heart's desire is and what is the science behind it. So we're going to talk about that today.
I hope so, because if there's ever a time to have some good news, it's probably right now.
Yes. All right. So if you're here joining us, please drop a hello and tell us where you're from in the comments. That would be really amazing. I can see lots of people are joining us. So if you could go ahead and drop a hello in the comments. And for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Liz Dawn, and I am the CEO and co-founder of Celebrate Your Life Events. And we've been doing events it'll be 30 years next year. It'll be 30th anniversary. Yeah, I know. I started when I was like 10. The Zoom camera or this camera is very forgiving. So we do spiritual events, higher level consciousness with some of the greatest game changers and spiritual luminaries of our time, including the fabulous Bruce Lipton.
Thank you for that trumpet, Liz.
Yes. All right, so we can see all your comments. Hello from Azores, Ohio, Cairo, Ohio. Fantastic, lots of people here this morning. All right, so talk to us about happiness. Talk to us about joy and manifesting more, open-heartedness and happiness and joy in our lives. I'm just going to let you riff, Bruce.
Well, I have to recognize a fact about my own particular life, and that is the first 40 plus years was not one filled with tremendous amount of joy and happiness. I was working. I was good at what I did. I was a great scientist, but not a really good person to live with. And I had issues finding relationships, and all of a sudden, an understanding came through from the cells I was studying. Now, let's just start with something very simple. People think, oh, humans are smart, and anything a little lower than human on the scale is less smart. So dogs are pretty smart, okay? And then we go down a snail that's like, and then a cell, I go, let's correct something right here. You ready? Cells made us. We are a community of 50 trillion cells. Every function in our body, everything that we do in this world, all of our behavior, our joys, our love, our pain, all of it is through the cells. The cells are the living entity. Bruce, Liz, we're just actually communities of up to 50 trillion cells. But the most important part is this. There's not one new function in the whole human body that wasn't already present in the most advanced single cell. And all of a sudden it says, yes, cells are intelligent. And they taught me a lot. And the thing that I really learned from them is we are creators. Now, I learned that from two levels. I learned that from an understanding of the science of epigenetics, which was the groundbreaking research I did 50 years ago, which is a challenge to everybody's understanding of genetics. Oh, genes. Those are the things that control the character of our lives. And then we teach the medical students, like I did. Well, as far as we know, we didn't pick the genes we came with. You don't like the characteristics you have, you can't change those genes. And genes turn on and off by themselves. I said, what were we teaching? What did you learn? And here it is. You learned you were a victim of your heredity. You learned if there was something running in your family, you were going to be one of those that's going to display it or show it yourself. Cancer's running in the family, Alzheimer's running in the family, heart disease, blah, blah, blah. We attribute this to genes. Well, the new science of epigenetics says all of that was wrong. Great. Why? Because the new science of
I bet you
epigenetics.
pissed off a lot of people with that one.
Oh, I want to tell you, I'm so happy about it, because if it wasn't for understanding that, I wouldn't understand who we are and how we are and how come we're creating the lives we are creating and the illusions that we're living under. So the
Right.
first illusion that I just started to bring up is you have been programmed to believe that the genes control the character of your life, the genes turn on and off, etc. 100% false. 100% false. Why? Genes are blueprints. They're used to make the building blocks of the body called the proteins. We are a protein machine. When you look in the mirror, you're looking at a protein machine created by 50 trillion cells, okay? And I say, so why is this important? Because proteins break down. Put a piece of meat on the table today and leave it for a week and come back. It's not going to look the same by the time you come back. It'll be breaking down all the time. So the fact is, then we have to replace the proteins all the time. And I go, yes, that's the blueprint, the DNA that is used to make these complex molecules. I go, so what does that mean? I go, it's a blueprint. You go, yeah. I go, okay, let's go into an architect's office, and she's working on a blueprint. And let's ask her, hey, is your blueprint on or off? She would look at you like, what are you, crazy? It's a blueprint. There is no on and off to a blueprint. Aha! The new science, epigenetics. I go, epi? Yeah, epi means above. What do we call the skin? It's above a layer called the dermis. So what do we call skin? Epidermis.
Epidermis,
Above
right.
the dermis. Now, what do you think epigenetics is? Control epi above the genes. I go, what controls the genes? The
Oh.
mind is the architect. The mind is what turns the genes on and off and can adjust the readout of the genes. That for every blueprint that you have in your body to make a protein, which is what the DNA is, using epigenetics, you can make thousands of versions of that protein just by how you respond to the world. I go, so what is that? And I go, oh my God, we're
Mm.
not just reading our genetics, we're writing changes into our genetics by the way we live in our lives. And all of a sudden it says, then what is controlling the epigenetics? Go back 100 years when I did the experiment in 1967. What was the story? I put genetically identical cells into 3 petri dishes. Okay, great.
Mhm, mhm.
We grow cells in something called culture medium, which we create in the lab. It's a fluid environment in which the cells live. I'm going to get to this. Hold on to that, baby. I made 3 different versions of culture medium, and I fed each plate with a different version of culture medium. But all the plates have genetically identical cells. I said, so what happened? In one dish with one chemistry environment, the cells form muscle. In a second dish with a second chemical environment, the cells form bone. In a third dish yet with a different chemical environment, the cells form fat cells. So the whole important thing that came down was, oh my God, they were all genetically the same, but what caused them to become muscle, bone, and fat? And I go, the environment that they were growing in. I go, okay, now comes that little thing I was going to tell you about. Culture medium in the laboratory is the scientific version of blood. So if I grow human cells, I say, what's human blood made out of? And then I put
Mhm.
that chemistry into the petri dish, and that's the environment for the cells. So I change a little bit of that chemistry and I change the fate of the cells. Then all of a sudden I go, wait a minute. It doesn't make a difference if the cell is in a plastic petri dish or inside what I refer to as your skin covered petri dish. Underneath your skin, you have 50 trillion cells. And guess what? They're in the original culture medium. The chemistry of that is what? The blood. And all of a sudden it
Okay,
says, hey, what's the point? And the point is
so
this: it's the chemistry of the blood that controls the genetics. It's like, well, that's what happened in the petri dish. I go, yeah, skin covered dish, same thing. Now all of a sudden we're going to take a jump. I say, well, who's the chemist that puts the chemistry into the blood, because that determines what genes are going to be read. And then I say, the brain is the chemist. Now comes the last and most important one, the question of all. What chemistry should the blood have? What chemistry should the brain put into the blood? The answer, whatever thought you have in your head, the brain translates that thought into complementary chemistry. If you have love in your mind, the chemistry of the blood has dopamine for pleasure. That's why we love being in love. When you have love in your mind, you have oxytocin coming from your brain, which then bonds you to your lover. And growth hormone, which does exactly what it says, it enhances your vitality. So guess what? When you fall in love, the image of love releases certain chemistry, which gives you pleasure, bonding, vitality, and that chemistry is in the blood because the brain translates love into that chemistry. And that's why when people fall in love, they're so healthy. Why?
So would you agree with the statement that our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions have everything to do with the well-being of our bodies and the well-being of how the chemistry is working in our bodies?
100% accurate.
Okay, good.
100%. I say, why? If you change the vision in your mind, you change the chemistry of the blood. So if I am in fear, I don't release love chemistry. I release stress hormones and things that affect the
Right.
immune system. So the chemistry of my body is adjusting my genetics to my belief system. Whatever I think is converted into that chemistry. Thinking very positive thoughts enhances, of course, the vitality of your cells. Thinking negative thoughts puts them into a state of protection, which compromises vitality. And in fact, the issue of our world today, why do we have a healthcare crisis, is because the fear that people have of a world coming apart in front of them is so stressful that we're not thinking love now, we're thinking protection. And I go, okay, what does that mean? So here's the important fact. There's
Oh,
two ways a cell can go, A or B. I go, A, the cell can be in growth. What's it going to do? Go to the stimuli of the world and take them in. Food, love, fun. You're going to go to those things and you're going to have your arms open and you're going to take them in because they give you this great vitality. I
okay.
go,
So,
but
go
then
ahead.
let me finish, because the B switch is protection. I say, well, in protection, you don't go to the stimulus. It's a fear thing. You go away from it. So when you're in growth, you go to the stimulus. When you're in protection, you go away from the stimulus. When you're in growth, you're open, take things in. And when you're in protection, you close yourself down. So what's the point? You can't be in growth and in protection at the same time. They're mutually exclusive behaviors. And the issue is, how long can you stay in protection as a way of life? And the answer is not very long, because of simple reasons. This, for example, every second we've been talking with Liz and I, guess what? Every second you've lost 3.5 million cells have died. Every second. Oh, another 3.5 million cells just up. Another 3.5 million cells. I guess, so why is this important? And the answer is because how can you keep living if you're losing billions and billions of cells every day naturally? And the answer is we have stem cells. Oh, yes, I've heard of them. No, let me give you the real name that stem cells were called before we called them stem cells, embryonic cells. Stem cells are embryonic cells that replace the stuff in your body. But
Mhm.
guess what? They only do that in a state of growth. So if you're in a state of fear and you shut down growth with stress hormones, you're not replacing the cells. And you start to get sicker and you'll start falling apart and all kinds of things will happen. So the most important thing is this: you think that your genes are running your life. I go, no, your thoughts are running your life. And that is
Thoughts are
an
running.
absolute 100% scientific reality from the most valid of all sciences. I'm going to say the word of the science, but I know most people go, well, as soon as I say it, they go, I go, no, it's called quantum physics. Quantum
Yes.
physics. Yeah.
Yes.
Let-
Okay,
let-
so let me ask you something. So when in your life, and because I mean, I've known you for a really long time, and you are just one joy-filled, happy, amazing human. And but when shit hits the fan, let's get real now. When you hear about what's going on in the world and the oppression and all of this other mishigas, if you will, how do you stay in, because I know me, I get stressed and I'm like, how do you stay in a balanced, you know, place where your thoughts are in alignment with where you want to be? How
okay.
do you do that, Bruce?
Let's acknowledge one thing. Every action that the human body does requires energy. That's a fact. Okay.
Okay.
Energy is what life is based on. If you have
Right.
energy, you have life. If you don't have energy, you don't have life. That's okay. That's simple. That's mathematically simple. It's like a bank account. If you have money in the bank, you have energy. And with that money, you can do things. Okay.
Mhm.
If you have no money in the bank, there is no energy and you can't do anything. Well, think about it that way. So I'm going, but now guess what? Every action in the body requires energy. Every action, whether I'm winking in my eye or going to work or whatever it is, everything requires energy. So, what I started to realize is very important is this: how much of my energy do I waste? I go, what do you mean? I go, well, how much of my money do I waste in my bank? I don't go down the street and say, "Hey, you got a nice pair of shoes. Let me give you $5." And oh, I like your hairstyle. Here's $5 for you. And the idea, well, that would be absurd. Why? You give away your money, you get nothing back. You lose your life. I go, Now I'm telling you this: the energy of the body is the same as money, but it's in the body. And the more energy you have in your body, the more you can carry out life. And then all of a sudden, I started to realize a way back. I said, wait a minute. If I had to write a check for the energy of my expenditure, for every time I was going to do some energy expending, there might be that moment where I said, why am I writing this check for that? What am I
Uh,
getting back from that? Okay. And all of a sudden, I started to realize, wait a minute. My energy is my life. If I give away my energy, I give away my life. That's as simple as that. I say, well, does that mean I don't give energy in my life? I go, oh, it does. It means when I get something back from my energy expenditure, whether it's me personally, my partner, Margaret, my family, or my community, if I'm going to put my energy in, I want something back. Okay. And if you put your energy in and you get nothing back, that's like writing a bad, your check. Hey, I just threw it away. I go, guess how much energy you will save when you start to realize the things that you can affect and the things you can't affect. I think it's called the serenity prayer, and that is a way of life. It
yeah,
says, uh, affect the things that you know you can affect,
grant me, right.
and don't throw your energy into things you can't do anything about. So, do I watch the news? Hell no. What am I going to sit there and they're going to tell me about and I'm going to sit there and lose all my energy and get afraid and put myself in protection? I go, I can't change it. I'm not
Mhm,
going to deal with it. If my
mhm.
community puts something together, I will support my community to do that. But alone, I'm not going to do it. And I think just think in this, political world, how many people get into arguments about politics? And I go, they fight, they get hot. A little sidebar. In physics, heat is defined as wasted energy. So when you get all heated up, you are actually wasting the energy of your body because it has no more function for you at that point. You're burning it up. Okay. So
Uh,
getting into a heated argument is like throw away your money. Go ahead, give them their money. Why? You're not getting anything back and you're putting a lot of effort in because that's where the heat came from. And the point about that was what? The serenity prayer is a guideline. If I can do something about it, I'm going to do something. If I can't do anything about it, I'm not getting involved. And this has been a great saving to my life because I don't have to understand the crazy world by going out there every day and watching the news and going, oh, oh, and then what? Suffering because I can't do anything about it, but I can suffer from it. I go, well, that is a waste of energy.
Interesting, because in my imagination, I'm doing something about it. You know what I mean? It's not like in reality, I'm doing something about it. So when I see something that creates agita, like I'm visualizing all these scenarios and doing this and doing that, but in reality, I'm not, and I can't, and I'm not big enough to, like,
Well,
fighting with somebody on social media about whatever issue,
yeah,
or arguing with people about, politics. I like this one. I like that one. I like this one. I like that one.
none of them are any good, so who cares? I'll tell you why. And the simple
Greater
reason
words
is
were never spoken. Greater words were never
the reason
spoken.
is simply this. The world's in a state of crisis everywhere. There's all
Yeah.
kinds of crisis: political, economic, social, religious, racial, even gender crisis. I go,
Yeah.
what's going on? It's all falling apart. And I go, it's falling apart for the one you're not paying attention to. I go, what's that? We are not sustainable as a civilization. I go, what the hell am I talking about? I'll tell you what. How much resources does it take to support today's civilization all around the world? How much of the earth resources to keep us living the way we are living right now today? Let's stay this way, okay? 1.6 planet Earth resources are required for today's civilization. Well, you don't have to be a super mathematician, but you recognize there's only one planet Earth. Where the hell is the extra 0.6 resources coming from? And the answer, we are undermining the web of life. We're destroying the environment. We're destroying the ecosystem to rape and pillage the planet to get as much of those resources out to us right now.
But when you
With no
say that, it makes me all nervous and like we have to do something and anxious. Doesn't that get you like, all the doom and gloom?
No, because when I say I have to, the hippie days, come on, Liz, we were back there, hippie days.
I know.
There was a famous saying that said, before you go out and change the world, take care of your own backyard.
Yeah.
And that is my intention. I'm taking
Right.
care of my yard. I'm reducing my expenses. I'm reducing my demands on the environment. I'm doing things to say, this thing hasn't really fallen apart yet. It's in process of falling apart. The reason is very simple.
Or
And
that's
it's
what
all science. It's all
right.
science. I go, what is it? You cannot build a sustainable civilization on the foundation of today's civilization because that's where the problem is.
Got
So
it.
you can't put band-aids. This thing is not going to happen. And scientists at NASA, for example, have clearly revealed that within the next 20 years and maybe 10, there's an irreversible, and let me emphasize that, an irreversible collapse of civilization, and you're facing it right now. And within 10 or so years, you think the chaos we're seeing now is something? Wait till then. Because the reality is, we can no longer live the way we are living. And it's us that has to change, not the planet. We have to change because we're the ones destroying the planet. So,
Right.
what am I doing? I'm getting ready for that way of life. I'm reducing my expenditures. I'm reducing my overhead.
I just
I'm
did
doing very important things to get ready. I'll tell you one of the things that people don't pay any attention to. So, since we're talking about what should I do right now, I'll tell you what. Climate change is happening. Oh, that's a reality. Actually, I live here in California. A little town right next to me was a tornado that lifted up trucks and cars and threw them all over the place. In California, right in my neighborhood, it's like, holy Jesus, a tornado in my neighborhood, California? So
Mhm.
it's climate change. And I go, so why is it important? And everybody goes, oh, the water is going to melt and come up over the edge. And I go, you miss the point. What is the point? How can you plan agriculture if you don't know what the weather is going to be? A farmer can't plant if he doesn't know, is it going to be too hot, too dry, too wet, too cold? Okay, what do we know? It's changing every day. And what's the point? Food is the problem, not water at the edge of the continent. The food
Mm.
prices are going up day by day. If anybody goes to the store, I know Donald
Are you
Trump didn't go
growing
to the
are you
store,
growing
but
your own food? Are you
what's that?
Are you growing your own food?
I grow some, but I'm fortunate. I live in Santa Cruz, California. Right down the street are the best organic farms in the whole world are right here. So it's for me, it's like putting my effort into grow food. No, I could go downtown and get it because it's more abundant here than anywhere else in the world. Organic food. Hey, I'm in the right place, babe.
We're all
Okay.
moving to Mount Shasta. Okay, so I want
Well,
to
let me finish the point about the
okay,
food
because I want
thing.
to share
Okay.
about the event
I
coming up.
want people to understand. You probably have a first aid kit in your house. I go, what? You expecting an accident? I go, no, but just in case, I have something. Okay. You don't probably have a first aid food kit. I go, what's that mean? I say, well, when there's disasters, the food market empties their shelves in 2 hours or so. Anytime there's a big storms coming or something like that, there's a run on the market. The food's gone. And I say, and it takes days to get it back. My question is this: if there's a disaster kind of thing, be it storms or whatever it is, or a collapse of the corporate world or whatever it is, how much food do you have in your cabinet? Why? Because there's not going to be any food in the food store for a number of days until everything gets back on track again. And so I want people to understand this is time to put away some food. And it's necessary to put it away, not food that you're going to use right now, food that you put away and say, when that rainy day is coming, I got something. Now,
Right.
you can get long life stuff. You can get rice, beans, and stuff like that. You get canned things.
Oh,
The
no.
prices are still better
Wow.
now than they're going to be. So my caveat for all of you out there is, look, you can see the chaos is coming. Well, when the chaos really hits, where's your food? And the
Right.
answer is, oh,
Right.
okay. We don't want, oh. I love it because I take planes. That's my job, going here to there. Uh, I always hear every time I get on the plane, it's the old same announcements again, the seat belt and the vest and all that. But I love the one because it's like the most important thing, and people just, whew, I go, what is it? If the oxygen masks come down from the ceiling, meaning there's a problem with the air, put your mask on first before you help other people.
Right.
If you can't take care of yourself, then you cannot help other people. And
So
so
we
the
just
idea is we have to look for ourselves. And this is why I'm saying, let's take care of our backyards now and start to live in a healthy economic way, and reduce the amount of food we are eating. What?
exactly. Exactly.
Go on a diet? I go, the average lifespan of a human from scientific point of view is 150 years. How come living to 100 is the big deal?
Right.
And the answer is this: because we're killing ourselves. Whoa, what? What? We eat too much food. I go, what do you mean? When you digest food, it's the same as burning fuel. It is burning fuel, okay? When you burn fuel, you get energy, but you get waste product. So, for
Right.
example, you burn the gasoline in your car, don't breathe the exhaust pipe, okay? When we burn food in the body, there's a waste product called free radicals. I go, free radicals? I go, they're highly charged atoms. They got like electricity charged to them. I go, so what? They punch holes in the cells. They kill the
Mm.
cells. Well, there's two sets of cells. The ones that are making my body at this very moment, which are being replaced on a basis anyway, but they're stem cells. And they're the ones that are the replacement cells. And the more food we eat, the more preferentially we kill the stem cells. And when you kill the stem cells, you shorten your lifespan because those are the cells that are replacing the 3.5 million cells that are dying every second in your life. And the
Right.
point of that is what? We're eating so much food that we're destroying our body's cells and no longer able to sustain a full life experience.
Right.
And this is so important for us because it says, okay, food's more expensive. Well, guess what? Eat less. And all of a sudden, okay, I'll
Yes,
just
I know,
ask
I
you,
know, I know.
hey, I can afford
Okay,
to
so
eat less because
let me
it's cheaper.
let me jump in here. So, for those of you who are loving this conversation, and I know that I'm loving this conversation, one of the things that, not one of the things, but the thing that I do is I create community. I create spiritual events, retreats, events for the past 30 years. Actually, next year's our 30th anniversary. And can I just say, we are the longest running spiritual event production company run by a woman in the United States.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, so we are doing an event with Dr. Bruce, also with the fabulous Greg Braden.
Yes, my brother Greg Braden.
I know. And Anita Morjani.
Oh, Anita Murjani with a story she has to tell.
And your dear friend, Dr. Sue Mortar. So let me go
Another
ahead and just
wonderful
share my
soul.
screen.
It's time for me to step in and say something. Liz has been doing this, as she said, for this long, and I've participated with Liz on a number of these programs. And what's most important, and she said it first, and I didn't get there to say it yet, is our evolution is not Darwinian based on survival of the fittest. Our evolution is based on community. It's the evolution of community that will sustain life on this planet, not the individual. That's irrelevant, the individual. And so, therefore, any effort to manifest community is a very potent and important effort for the future of our civilization. And here I am talking with my dear friend Liz. Why? She's been doing this as a career for 30, so I don't know how many years, 30 plus
30
years.
years, 30.
Yes, yes. So she's
I
not a
can't
newbie on
believe
the block. She's not a newbie. She knows what she's doing, and she's putting together a great program. And I'm going to be quiet because she's going to talk about the program, and I have to be quiet.
Well, just really briefly, we're doing this event on January 16th through the 19th in Arizona. Now, we understand that not everyone can travel to Arizona. So today, we just opened the availability to be with us on live stream. And you'll have a host. I'll be popping in and out. And we have someone else on our Celebrate Your Life team that we will be popping in and out. And you'll be able to develop community even if you're on live stream because you'll be connecting with other attendees. So no matter where you are in the world, this event is available to you. Now, the beauty of this is also that not only are we doing it live and in person on January 16th through the 19th, and we're live streaming in real time, but you'll have the recordings for 21 days after the event, which is kind of unheard of. So you'll be able to listen real and live, during the event. If your schedule doesn't permit it, or maybe you're over in Italy or Norway or overseas where the times don't work, you'll have the recordings for 3 weeks after the event. So we're really trying to accommodate everyone's schedule, everyone's availability, because we strongly believe that more now than ever before, it is so important that our spiritual community come together and come together with all of these 4 great luminaries. This is the first time ever that the 4 of them have appeared together in an event. So this is a very, very special program because we finally got all 4 of them together. It's been my dream to have, I think, 4 of the greatest teachers in science and spirituality come together and be with community. So the URL is right here, and I'll type it in the comments as well. It's the word soul .celebrateyourlife.com. So it's soul.celebrateyourlife.com, and it's right up on the screen. And I hope you'll join us. Take a look at that. We'll be together in person, and we'll also be together on live stream. And let's just Let's just fill the planet with love and intention and beauty and happiness and joy together as our community comes together. So I hope to see all of you there.
Me too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, Bruce, that's our time today. Thank you
No, I
so much.
want to just say a couple, just 2 more minutes, maybe 3. Okay.
Okay, 2, 3 more minutes. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Go.
The most valid science on the planet today is quantum physics. There's no science with more truth in it than quantum physics. I go, why is that important? Because the principle of quantum physics is very simply this, is that the universe is made out of energy. Everything is energy. There's an illusion of matter. This is an illusion. And I say, why is it important? Well, there are 2 illusions that we need to straighten out. And the first one is this: quantum physics principle number 1. From 1927 till to this very minute, the same principle of quantum physics is this: the universe is immaterial. The universe is mental and spiritual. Live and enjoy. And so basically, this is what the point of the physics is. We are creating our lives with our consciousness. It's not a philosophy, it's not an idea, it is an experiential science. And therefore, I want you to understand we are all creators. We're all a piece of God. Every one of us is a creator. There's no separation between you and God because each of us is a miniature God creating for our own little miniature reality at this point.
Oh, I love
And,
that. That
and
is
the point about it is this: I did not believe in spirituality. The cells revealed it to me. And it was like, oh, hey, I have some devotion to believe in spiritual. No, hell no. It was a mechanism, which I'm going to share like crazy. Why? You are a creator. You're a spiritual entity. This is, again, not philosophy. This is the most valid science on the planet. Because if you understand this, then you have to then ask the question, well, if I'm the creator, then how come this mess is around here? And
I
then
know, I know.
that
But
we're going to
this
talk
and
about
we're gonna
because
talk
we've
yeah.
been programmed. The movie The Matrix is not science fiction. The movie The Matrix is a documentary. Everybody's been programmed. That was
And we're gonna be
necessary.
talking so much, and we do our
No, I
time is
got one last thing, and then I'm going to, last thing, and here it is. Ready?
gross.
In the
But
movie
they're
The
gonna catch us
Matrix,
at the event.
the,
They can get all this
The
information.
Matrix, the Matrix is true. We are creating this, okay? But we've been programmed. And then I want you to know that almost every one of you in that movie, there was something, take the red pill and you get out of the program. And I'm going to say, most everybody in listening today has taken that red pill at least once with the most amazing life experience you could ever have. I say, what was the red pill? Falling in love. Because
Yes,
when
and
you fell
falling in
in
love with
love, your world changed.
yourself.
In 24 hours after you fell in love, you were experiencing something called the honeymoon, which, if I put it in more vernacular terms, it's called heaven on earth. And you were
Yeah.
there. And now the idea is, well, since you had the honeymoon, why can't you have it every day? Well, Celebrate Your Life is giving us an educational opportunity where we can share this information, myself with my friends. Why? We want you to be happy too.
Yes, and coming and taking a respite from your everyday life, there's nothing like it. This is why I've been doing this for so long, because hundreds of thousands of people have been to our events for the past 30 years, and the same thing is said to me, is that they walked away in total and complete bliss, and it was the best thing they ever did for their lives. So go ahead and check it out at soul.celebrateyourlife.com. And Bruce, thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you everyone else for joining us from all over the world. And come join us for the event either in person or live stream. All right. We'll see you then. Mwah!